It's Back to Work Monday. Good to see you, and welcome to the Fox 5 Live Zone. I'm your host, Guy Lambert. Thank you so much for joining us. Coming up on the show today, could it be, maybe so, perhaps finally, an end to the government shutdown? We'll get the very latest right here on the Live Zone. The Commanders, well, they took another one on the chin, but, well, now they hope to rebound as they head off to Spain. We'll get a preview with regard of what we can expect. And we're getting you set for Danville Fashion Week. Yeah, down in Danville, Virginia. It's now known for all things fashion. You'll find out why right here on the Live Zone. But first, how about we talk weather, shall we? Tucker Barnes joining us on a Feel Good Monday. Hello, my friend.
Hello.
What's going on?
It's cold out there.
It is freezing. I wore a turtleneck on the way in over this. First time this year. It's a little chilly out there.
Is that for fashion, or was that to stay warm?
That was to stay warm. It's the only thing I could find that was still clean.
Sometimes I wear a turtleneck around the house just for fashion.
You strike me as a Dickie guy. Remember those?
Nope, I
don't. You don't know what it is?
No, what's a Dickie guy? Because
it's the one where it's cut off, but never mind.
Right.
That's even worse, cut off part. So let's just get the weather.
All right, we'll do the weather. 46 in Washington. That is very chilly for this time of year. We were about 70 yesterday, so, nearly 25 degrees cooler. That was a serious cold front that came through with thunder and lightning last night.
Wow.
Winds out of the north and west at 16. We'll have an occasional gust 25 today. And, Guy, look at there. Your feels like your wind chill temperature for the first time this year. 39 degrees out. Okay, so take the cold seriously this afternoon. All right, want to have fun with numbers? Mm-hmm. All right, you don't have a choice because I'm running the maps. 46 in Washington. Those are actual air temperatures. 28 in Chicago, where it snowed yesterday during the Bears game. 28 in St. Louis. Nashville was 31 earlier, now 33 degrees. Lincoln, Nebraska, 23. I mean, that is some real cold air. And we are getting a chunk of that. We're not getting the worst of it, which is out to the west. But enough of it that will remain unseasonably cold around here this afternoon for this time of year. We should be in the low 60s. We will maybe get to 50 later this afternoon.
Oh, that's the high?
Okay. Good news is brighter skies will be partly sunny going forward, and we should be precip free. If you're going west, as in western Maryland, West Virginia, you will notice that is actually snow showers out there.
Oh, gosh.
And I was looking at pictures not too long ago in western Maryland of snow-covered streets.
Wow, okay. I guess it's that time of the year.
No, they do have some elevation out there, so that's a different game. And we're not going to get any of that locally, but that gives you an idea how cold it is. Tomorrow morning, you will need your turtleneck and your puffy jacket and, dare I say, in Guy's case, first mittens of the season.
Oh, brother.
You a mitten wearer?
I like gloves. So,
okay. Yeah. 48 tomorrow. Did you go to the Commanders yesterday?
No, I was actually in Columbus. It was snowing there.
Oh, so you saw snow yesterday?
Yeah, I saw snow, yeah.
Yeah, all right, so you got in on it. 48 for Veterans Day tomorrow, and then much better, much warmer, milder. How about that? Maybe it's not warm, but it'll feel a lot better Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Less wind as well. Nice end of the week.
Ooh, I absolutely love it. Tucker Barnes, all things weather right here on the Live Zone. Guys, if you haven't already done so yet, make sure you download the Fox Local app. You see it right there on your TV screen, and you, my friends, are good to go. Well, the Senate now advancing legislation to open the government. It passed late last night with exactly the amount of votes needed.
The yeas are 60 and the nays are 40.
The new agreement extends government funding through January. It also provides full-year funding for food aid programs like SNAP and WIC benefits, veteran services, and the legislative branch. In addition, the deal would guarantee federal workers get back pay, reinstate those who got laid off notices during the shutdown, and halt any more layoffs during the agreement period. That provision was added by Virginia Senator Tim Kaine.
That's a big win for 2 million federal employees, and added together with these other ingredients of robust appropriations bills and a guaranteed path forward to vote on fixing the ACA, that made me sign on and say, yes, we can do it.
One independent and 7 Democrats voted with Republicans to advance the legislation, which now goes to the House. Then there's this. Earlier today, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, had this to say.
I think it's coincidental, you know how I think, but it's after 40 days of wandering in the wilderness and making the American people suffer needlessly, some Senate Democrats finally have stepped forward to end the pain. It appears to us this morning that our long national nightmare is finally coming to an end, and we're grateful for that. At least some Democrats now finally appear ready to do what Republicans and President Trump and millions of hardworking American people have been asking them to do for weeks. But as we said from the beginning, the people's government cannot be held hostage to further anyone's political agenda. That was never right. And shutting down the government never produces anything. It never has, if you study history. And so here we are. I want to remind everybody this morning.
Yet again, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson discussing all things surrounding the government shutdown. Speaking of discussing the government shutdown, we're now joined by Mr. Arif Halaby, radio host and political strategist right here on the Live Zone. Good to see you, my friend. Happy Monday.
Good to see you. Happy Monday. It's interesting to be with you on a Monday. Normally it's a Tuesday, so it's nice to see you today.
Yeah, and it comes with good news, perhaps, Arif, and that happens to be the government shutdown may be on the verge of coming to an end. As you just heard, in a 60-40 vote, 8 members of the Senate Democratic Caucus joined Republicans in advancing a stopgap measure. This is something that we all have been waiting for, yet we're not at the finish line just yet.
No, for 40 days now we've been waiting for this. It's nice that I think we're within 2, maybe 3 days of this coming to a complete end. Air traffic controllers were a big reason. A lot of them were off sick or out, having to try to fend for their families. Look, we came into this with about 3,000 air traffic controllers short of what we need just to run the system. And so the school in Arizona continued to operate at full speed, even though they knew that at the time people weren't being paid. However, we seem to be back on track now, and I'm hopeful it comes to an end.
Arif, here's what we'll do. We know that Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has just approached the podium to discuss all things surrounding the government shutdown. Let's take a live look in very quickly.
That costs were going to go down on day one. But costs haven't gone down. They're going up. Inflation is going up. Under Republican policies, housing costs are going up. Child care costs are going up. Grocery costs are going up. Electricity prices are through the roof. And now, because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, tens of millions of Americans are about to experience dramatically increased health care costs. In some cases, their health insurance premiums will increase by $1,000 or $2,000 per year. That is unacceptable. It will be unaffordable for working class Americans, middle class Americans, and everyday Americans to be able to go see a doctor when they need one. And so House Democrats and Senate Democrats have been fighting hard to address the Republican health care crisis and to lower the high cost of living for everyday Americans in the United States of America. Because the reality is, America is too expensive. And far too many people are struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. They can't thrive, they can barely survive. And that's why Democrats have been waging this fight. And we'll continue to wage this fight. No matter what comes over to us from the United States Senate to the House of Representatives at some point this week. Our position as House Democrats has been crystal clear. We will sit down with any Republicans, anytime, any place, anywhere, in order to find a bipartisan path forward, but we're not down with their my way or the highway approach to governance. That's failed the American people. It's been a disaster for the American people, and the American people know it, which is why last Tuesday, Republicans all across the country got wiped out. One of the most decisive off-year elections ever in modern American history. And so as House Democrats, we know we're on the right side of this fight, the right side of the American people. And we're not going to support a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people. And we're going to continue the fight to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. And if it doesn't happen this week, this month, next month, then it's the fault of Donald Trump, House and Senate Republicans, who continue to make life more expensive for the American people. Questions?
Democrats in your own caucus are suggesting Schumer is ineffective as Senate Democratic leader and should be replaced. You, of course, are critical of this deal. Do you view him as effective and should he keep the job?
Yes and yes.
Do you trust, in this deal, there is language for President Trump and the Trump administration to reverse some of the firings that happened during the shutdown. Do you trust that the Trump administration and the president is going to sign off on that and reverse the people who have been fired?
We'll have to evaluate the legislative language, and we'll have a caucus meeting later on this afternoon, and we'll get a presentation from Rosa DeLauro, the top Democrat on the Appropriations Committee. The overwhelming majority of Senate Democrats, led by Leader Schumer, are opposing this bill in the Senate. And they'll articulate, there are a variety of different reasons that the bill is being opposed strongly by Democrats in the Senate, the overwhelming majority of them. And there'll be a variety of different reasons that we articulate in the House. Now, certainly we're going to continue to stand by our hardworking federal employees. By the way, Donald Trump and Republicans, this toxic administration, they fired more than 100,000 federal employees prior to the shutdown that they started beginning. So, of course, there's reason to be deeply skeptical of the administration and their motives as it relates to the hardworking federal civil servants and the federal workforce. And we will continue to be deeply skeptical of their intentions. They spent the whole year implementing the toxic parts, the most toxic parts of Project 2025. After lying to the American people last year, saying they didn't know anything about Project 2025. And part of that has been going after the federal workforce. So we'll see what the language looks like, but it doesn't change the core problem here, which is we need to decisively address the Republican health care crisis on behalf of working class Americans, everyday Americans, and middle class Americans. Thanks. Third row.
So Dr. Oz said that millions.
Who?
Dr. Oz said there are millions of phantom enrollees under the ACA. Is that being looked at as it possibly makes it so that people that are.
All right, yet again, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries discussing all things surrounding the government shutdown. In quite surprising, Arif, we heard the Minority Leader say that yet again the focus should remain on health insurance premiums, and that, well, did I hear correctly that he wasn't planning on budging with regard to reopening the government and or the Democrats within the House? What say you?
Well, on the House side of the building, they don't have to budge. So I love it when Democrats will run around and say this is a three-layer Republican approach, right? All three layers of government are controlled by the Republicans. It's not true. The Senate needs 60 votes, which is the bipartisan. And look, the Senate put up some sacrificial lambs. They did so. They knew they had to. They have voted for the exact same thing that we had on the table back in March when they voted positive on it. They voted yes, and even 40 days ago. So look, these are safe Senate Democrats. They're going to continue to stay in office, most likely. I think at the end of the day, you're going to see a couple of things happen. Number one, the discussion around health care on the term limits, the time that was set by Democrats back when this was sunsetted originally in the law. And so now that's going to be addressed. I think two things need to occur. We need to eliminate the insurance companies' involvement at such the level that it causes enormous amounts of increase. And look, I love it when Hakeem Jeffries is saying it's going to be $2,000 a month. Today, President Trump comes out and says, well, with the tariffs, we're going to give all Americans $2,000 a year. President Trump comes out and says, with the tariffs, we're going to give everybody $2,000 a year. It just kind of moots his point and puts it right back to where the issue should be, which is the reform with the insurance companies, not so much the health care.
Yeah, yet again, strong words by Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, stating in so many words that he does not support what the Senate will put forth. But to your point, quite honestly, there's nothing that can be done once it reaches the House for the most part, and then the desk of President Trump, who will likely put his signature on it. Do you think that this is, in essence, a part of pomp and circumstance? Just Mr. Jeffries stating that he does not like what's being put forth so that, well, when the insurance premiums rise, that the Democrats will not get the blame?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. When you build a system to where the Republican Party is in power at the same time Democrat provisions are sunsetted, it lands on their desk and the Republicans have to fight it. It would have been the same thing had a Harris administration received the 2017 tax cuts expiration. The Republicans would have come along and said, now this is a Democrat problem. Are you going to raise taxes on the American people? So it's a game they play. They push it back and forth. But this is really a dead end. It's been a dead end 40 days ago. It was designed to keep Chuck Schumer in office. However, I think he is going to retire along with Nancy Pelosi. They both have been in a long time and have kind of run their course. The Democrat Party no longer wants moderate Democrats. It wants extremists, and that's been emphasized by the election recently. Look, there were 300,000 more Democrat registered voters in blue states. It's no wonder the Democrats won in the last midterm, or in this case, a few days ago. It wasn't a surprise. It was a good shot for Republicans to get a chance to see what the temperature of the water is, but it's definitely not in their favor, especially in blue states when there's 300,000 more registered Democrats. They really didn't have a shot.
We'll have to leave it right there. Yet again, Mr. Arif Halaby, radio host and political strategist, joining us right here on the Live Zone. Sir, truly appreciate your time.
Thank you, Guy.
Well, there is more to come before the government can reopen, as we just saw. Any one of the senators can really delay consideration of the package for several days. Plus, the House will have to return and adopt the deal struck in the Senate before it gets sent to President Trump's desk. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Mandy Gunasakura. She is the author of Y'all Fired, a Southern Belle's Guide to Restoring Federalism and Draining the Swamp. Mandy, good to see you and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm curious, did you get a chance to hear what Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries made mention of surrounding the government shutdown, and if so, your response?
Yeah, I mean, what I heard is that he's sticking to the progressive talking points, and it's unfortunate because you really had 8 senators come through and work on this deal that's going to get the government back going. That's what the American people ultimately want, and then also to deal with healthcare at the time and in the context that is appropriate. Unfortunately, again, what I heard from the minority leader there is that he just wants to continue to push the progressive position, which is a losing proposition for what the American people really want. And that's what we're seeing coalesce over in the Senate, and I think we'll ultimately see pass through the House, not without an uphill battle, mind you, but I do think that will ultimately get the government back up and running latest by early next week. And then we can start having very serious, robust conversations about these broader policy issues that continue to be problems.
Sure. Mandy, perhaps at one point it happened to be bickering-wise between the Republicans and Democrats. Well, after hearing what Mr. Jeffries said, it seems, or it appears as though there could be bickering among the Democrats alone.
Yeah, there certainly is a breakdown amongst the various ranks of the Democrat Party. I mean, you saw headlines coming from the likes of CNN saying that there is a breakdown within the Democrat Party, and that's because you have those who have been hearing from their constituents that are responding. I mean, that's the role of the Senate, to kind of be the tea that cools the heat coming from sort of the base of their relative party. They are breaking ranks to get the government back to work, and then we'll let the progressives and the various policy issues play out. But yeah, there's bickering amongst the Democrat Party. They put themselves into a position that was a losing proposition. Ultimately, they were asking for something that wasn't going to happen and didn't make sense in this context. They were using leverage to hold the American people hostage. That's never a good negotiating position to be in. And so ultimately, you have these 8 Democrat senators that are going to get them out of this situation in the Senate, and then we'll see what the coalition looks like in the House, but it'll be on Republicans to ultimately end the Schumer shutdown, and I do think that we'll see that come to fruition.
Yeah, we should see that hopefully sometime in the near future. I have about 2 minutes left, and I really want to focus on your book, yet again entitled Y'all Fired. It really cuts through the politics, if you will, and provides an assessment of how we got here by explaining the enduring institutional challenges to reform. Oh, do tell.
Yeah, so the book, there's 3 parts. It's my experience with the deep state, which is pretty awful. I'll let folks read the first part for that. There's the middle section that gets into how did we get to this position where the deep state was so out of control and the role of the individual was significantly diminished. And the good news is the last part, which is what the Department of Government Efficiency really embraced early on in the Trump administration, doing an audit to get a big picture of the extent of waste, fraud, and abuse, and then coming up with plans of action where various cabinet officials could cut that waste, fraud, and abuse and deliver a better functioning government that saves taxpayer dollars and actually provides legally mandated services from Congress to the agencies, to the American people. So that's the book in a nutshell, and I've been very optimistic about the opportunities in the Trump administration. Again, DOJ and the various cabinet officials have embraced a lot of these ideas, and I think it's really a win-win for the individual American voter and an efficient way to provide services that Congress votes on to give to the American people in a very robust way.
Yet again, the book entitled Y'all Fired. Mandy, truly appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us on the Live Zone.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. All right, folks, going to take you back to Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries discussing all things surrounding the government shutdown.
House Democrats are going to take back control of the House of Representatives next year. I've said it before, and if I said it, I meant it. Now, with respect to the senators on the other side of the Capitol, they're going to have to explain themselves. But the overwhelming majority of Senate Democrats continue to remain in the arena fighting to fix our broken healthcare system and address the Republican healthcare crisis. This fight for us is not partisan. It's not a partisan fight. It's a patriotic fight. We're waging this fight on behalf of the American people. The 5 states that are most impacted by a failure to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits are West Virginia, Wyoming, Alaska, Mississippi, and Tennessee. 45% of the people, of the Americans who are going to lose health care or be at risk of losing health care if they don't, on the other side of the aisle, extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, 45% of them are registered Republicans. 35% registered Democrats, and 20% unaffiliated or independent. This is not a partisan fight for us. It's a patriotic fight. You know, one of the people that I met early on during this Trump Republican shutdown, came to Capitol Hill, was a 29-year-old named Mariah Plant. She's from rural Wyoming County in West Virginia. Her older brother is nonverbal, autistic, and requires 24-hour care. And Mariah is able to provide that care to her older brother lovingly and affectionately because of Medicaid that Republicans have now cut by the largest amount in American history. Her hospital in rural West Virginia is at risk of closing because of Republican policies in their one big ugly bill. And at the same time, this 29-year-old loving caregiver for her older brother gets her health care from the Affordable Care Act. And it's affordable because of the tax credits that Republicans now want to rip away from her. And so I'm fighting for people like Mariah Plant. Very different than the people that I represent in Brooklyn, New York. But she's an American, just like I represent hundreds of thousands of Americans. And that's what House Democrats are doing. We're fighting for the American people.
Thank you, Leader Jeffries. Have you spoken to your Democratic colleagues in the Senate who voted to
All right, yet again, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries discussing all things surrounding the government shutdown, and it appears he is not currently happy with the resolution that has been put forward thus far. We'll continue to monitor what he has to say right here on the Live Zone. Well, as tensions escalate in the Middle East with new fire exchanged in Gaza, Hezbollah striking in the north, and Iran vowing a 2,000 missile attack, American business figures Stephen Witkoff and Jared Kushner have returned to Israel for another round of shuttle diplomacy. Joining us live from Israel is Mr. Joel Pollack. He is with the new opinion editor of the California Post, the country's newest media platform, bringing West Coast perspective to national and international issues. I should also make mention that he is currently in Israel right now. Joel, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thanks for allowing me to join you on the fly here as we're moving around Israel.
Yeah, I got to tell you, well, first of all, we truly appreciate you taking time out. You have been on the ground, and it is growing more complex by the hour. What's the latest that you're hearing about all things renewed fire in Gaza and the tension in the north?
Well, I was down south at the Israeli side of the border today, and we heard artillery fire throughout the morning. We weren't sure exactly what was going on. You know, very odd during a ceasefire to hear artillery rounds going off. They were coming from the Israeli side, and obviously they were aiming at targets in southern Gaza. So there does seem to be some activity, and Israel has retained the right to attack Hamas positions if Hamas terrorists attack or if they cross over what's called the yellow line, which is the line of demarcation, disengagement within Gaza. Basically, the Israeli forces are in eastern Gaza, and Hamas controls western Gaza. So if there are terrorists that emerge, they are fired upon. They were given a warning to evacuate earlier. That warning has expired. So I assume that that's what was going on, but we have not been told by military sources exactly what was happening.
Joel, we also know that Iran has claimed yet again that they're preparing to assault, or an assault rather, of up to 2,000 missiles. How seriously should one take that threat?
I think you should take it very seriously. Today, when we returned from southern Gaza, we were in Tel Aviv, and we saw the area that was hit by missiles during the war in June. Now, Israel's Iron Dome and Arrow and David Sling took out most of the missiles that were fired from Iran, but a few penetrated the shield, and one of them landed in a residential neighborhood very close to the beach, the hotels, the commercial center of Tel Aviv. And that wreckage is all still there. So I think you should take the Iranian threat very seriously. Obviously, Israel has countermeasures and defenses, and the United States also has very good anti-missile systems. These two systems are now integrated, and they work very well together, but they're not hermetic. They don't seal the sky, at least not yet. And so if Iran is planning another assault, I think that's a threat that needs to be taken seriously.
Yeah, yet again, something that we will continue to monitor. We know that you have been writing for both Washington and Jerusalem. With that being said, how do you see the divide between what Americans are thinking and what's really occurring within that region?
Well, you know, stepping back, the American support for Israel has been one of the astonishing foreign policy successes of this administration and the previous Trump administration. By supporting Israel, Trump was able to cement the Abraham Accords, and of course, more recently, he negotiated a ceasefire that released all of the hostages that were still alive, something nobody thought was possible. He also intervened in Iran, and that was a lightning military victory for the United States. It restored the American deterrent force. So the pro-Israel policy of the Trump administration has been extremely successful, and yet, while the left has been flirting with anti-Semitism for quite some time, we now see it on the right as well. It's very confusing as to why people on the right, people who should be supporting President Donald Trump, are attacking his most successful foreign policy to date. But I think what's happening is you're seeing the jockeying for position in the next administration, keeping in mind that President Trump, all joking aside, is only going to be in office for the remainder of this term. And so you're already seeing people trying to position themselves to the left or to the right of him, maybe more hawkish, more dovish on foreign policy, as they're starting to stake out positions ahead of the 2028 primary. So I don't think we've heard enough about the success of this policy, but that's partly because some of the loudest voices in the room are saying sensational things to get attention for themselves and gain leverage in that 2028 primary.
Sure. We'll end with this, Joel, and that happens to be, it's no secret, you are witnessing a historic moment firsthand. What gives you hope right now that, well, perhaps that all of this will turn out to be on the bright side?
Well, what gives me hope, I've just seen a bus pull in here. I'm meeting a friend for dinner who is a tour guide for Christian tourists in Israel. And it's a bus full of Christian pilgrims and tourists, and they are here, and to them, Israel still means so much. So I think that the relationships between the Israeli people and the American people, between American Christians and Jewish Israelis, of course there are Israelis with many different religions, but those bonds which cross over religious boundaries are still very strong. So actually, as you asked me that question, a bus full of Christian pilgrims arrived, and that does give me hope.
Yeah. Yet again, we have been joined by Mr. Joel Pollack. He is with the New Opinion. He is the editor of the California Post, the country's newest media platform, bringing West Coast perspective to national and international issues. Joel, we truly appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, tomorrow, Maryland Public Television's Emmy Award-winning series Outdoors Maryland will return for its 37th season. It will feature new stories in Western Maryland. In the premiere episode, Racing Leviathan, well, the local high school students design and race their own pedal-powered submarine. Later in the season, Living Giants follows volunteers with the Maryland Big Tree program as they track and measure some of the country's most impressive trees. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Stephanie Roby. She is a producer at Outdoors Maryland TV and kind enough to join us. Good afternoon, Stephanie. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I got to tell you, I'm excited about this. This is the 37th season, so obviously you guys and gals are doing something right over there. What's to be expected?
Well, we have a lot going on this season. Outdoors Maryland, pretty much every season is different. We've been on the air for 37 seasons, as you mentioned, so you might think that we would run out of stories, but we try to keep it really fresh. I think right now we're looking at some footage from last season, season 36. This season we have 5 brand new episodes, 3 this fall and 2 that will air early 2026. Lots of stories about wildlife. We'll visit a raptor rescue. We'll go out with biologists recording whale songs in the Atlantic, meet some seals on Maryland's beaches. And you mentioned, obviously, tomorrow night is our premiere episode, 7:30 p.m. on MPT. We've got 2 stories in that episode that are actually both topics that we have never covered on the show before. So the International Human-Powered Submarine races, as you mentioned, and then also we have an astronomy story in that episode.
Yeah, the pedal-powered submarine. I mean, that's it's just so intriguing. I cannot wait to watch. I'm curious, Stephanie, from a production standpoint, what does it take in order to produce this series?
A lot goes into it. We have been working on this season all year, pretty much. And so it's a lot of working with organizations around Maryland that are doing really cool things outdoors. We produce the series in collaboration with the Department of Natural Resources. So a lot of our stories involve working with them, learning about the things that they do, going out into wetlands and up mountaintops and following biologists around, tramping through the mud, looking for turtles, things like that. We have a really talented crew of videographers who are able to really capture a lot of the diverse beauty that natural beauty that Maryland has to offer. And of course, a lot of our stories, they're people focused. So it's making connections with people in the state who are doing cool things and convincing them to let us sort of follow them around and see that process.
But Stephanie, you all do it all so well. And what I mean by that is you all cover the stories that so many others do not cover. And yet again, it's as if I'm sitting right there. I'm a part of that story. What does it mean to you to know that you all have done that year in and year out?
Yeah, it definitely means a lot. I think because we are telling longer form stories, our stories are 8 minutes, 10 minutes and longer, we're able to really do kind of a deep dive into some of what people in Maryland are doing outdoors and kind of expose, I think, our viewers, kind of open a window for them to some of the exciting ways in which Marylanders around the state are connecting with the natural world, and hopefully enable our viewers to kind of establish some connection themselves to the natural spaces around them, and enable them to look outside, just out their own back door and see that there's a lot, out there that Maryland has to offer.
Yeah. Well, yet again, I am so excited about it. We know that it airs tomorrow beginning at 7:30 on MPT and online, with the encore broadcasts on Saturdays at 4:30. Episodes are available to watch live and on demand. I cannot wait. I'm chomping at the bit in order to watch tomorrow's episode. Yet again, we've been speaking with Stephanie Roby. She is the producer at Outdoors Maryland TV. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and we can't wait.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You bet. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Following breaking news out of Loudoun County, where we are getting a report that one person is dead. This is a video from Sky Fox, by the way. Dead after a possible explosion in the maintenance area of a garden apartment in Ashburn. We know that multiple 911 calls reported an explosion to emergency crews. This happened just after 8 a.m. this morning, according to the Loudoun County Fire and Rescue spokesperson. The Moorfield station crews arrived in the 21,000 block of Green Stable Square. They found fire coming from the dumpsters in the maintenance shed. Emergency responders found at least one person dead in the area. The person was brought to the medical examiner's office to determine the cause of death. We still are not exactly sure why, but one can assume. Both the fire marshal and Loudoun County Sheriff's Office are investigating the cause of this fire. But yet again, you're taking a live look from Sky Fox over an explosion that appeared to have taken place in Ashburn in Loudoun County. We believe we have a camera crew en route, and when we do, we'll get you more information right here on the Live Zone. We'll take a quick break and be right back. Live Zone for our Monday Talkers, and I feel like I haven't seen this amazing woman in quite some time.
I know.
Annie Mae back here on the Live Zone. Hello, my friend.
It's been far too long.
It's been too long.
I know.
And she said, Guy, I'm going to sit all the way over here because you have somewhat of a little frog thing going on in your throat. I don't want to get sick.
Hey, November, December, man. It comes around like clockwork.
I don't know what it is, but we'll get through it.
Yeah.
So, and I'll just make sure I face this way.
Because I'll just...
All right, let's talk about food, shall we? In this case, Kraft Heinz now introducing a new unique mac and cheese flavor just in time for Thanksgiving. Take a look at this, Annie Mae. Kraft says it's bringing together two of the most popular dishes at Thanksgiving. The company teamed up with actor Jason Biggs from the movie American Pie to announce the limited edition flavor. What is it? I can't even say.
Apple pie flavored mac and cheese.
Oh my God! What are they thinking about? What say you, Annie Mae?
I say no. I'll tell you real quick. I say no. I think the idea is there, right? The idea of doing like a Thanksgiving flavored mac and cheese, like stuffing flavored mac and cheese, gravy flavored mac and cheese, something like that along the lines of savory. You're gonna miss every time if you do a sweet flavored mac and cheese.
Oh gosh, first of all, I would love to be in the boardroom when someone would actually say, you know what, let's do apple pie. Are you crazy?
Yeah. I'm convinced that they do stuff like this just to get people to talk about it, right? Because mac and cheese, especially the Kraft brand mac and cheese, is a staple, right? That's never going to go away. But they're just reminding people, hey, we're here. Like, hey, we're here, and they're doing it with, something that's going to go viral.
That is just so weird. Now, I can tell you, I've had some type of apple dessert with cheese on top of it. It was actually pretty good.
Okay, have you seen Ratatouille?
I have not.
Okay, Ratatouille, the rat, he eats an apple and he eats it with a pairing of cheese. And he has like fireworks in his head. It's a thing. It's a thing, okay? It's a thing.
So maybe we're missing out on it. Let us know. Hashtag Fox 5 Live Zone. Is this something that you plan on trying for Thanksgiving?
Probably not
for
me.
Us, not going to happen. Hey, let's bring in producer Joey. He's going to do our second story. What you got, Joey?
All right, I am producer Joey. That is true. And my second story is Chick-fil-A vending machine.
Okay.
It's 24 hours. Chick-fil-A is testing it out, temperature controlled. It's at a children's hospital in Georgia right now. It is only offering cool options, the wrap, Southwest veggie, cool, and then 2 flavors of waffle potato chips.
Wow.
They're restocked every 18 hours and still, for some reason, closed on Sunday. Chick-fil-A says if it goes well, it will roll them out nationwide, and I will inflate when this happens. I will be hitting this nonstop, full paycheck every week. How about you guys?
That was
What do you
funny,
think,
Joey.
Guy?
For me, now, I'm not a Chick-fil-A fan. I'm actually allergic.
Oh, my gosh.
So whatever oil or grease they use, and I know this happens to be cold sandwiches, I'm allergic to it. I had to go to the hospital twice.
Oh,
Seriously.
wow.
I had a bad reaction. But anyway, that's me. But yeah, I think this is right up every American's alley. I mean, everyone loves Chick-fil-A, but me. The only thing is, like, I guess every 18 hours, how fresh will it stay?
I think that's a reasoning, but it makes sense because it's basically a coolant, a refrigerator, if you will. So they're only keeping in the cool wraps, right? That you would basically have like a grilled chicken, cheese, kind of lettuce moment. They don't do, the staple nuggets, the staple original chicken sandwich. And I think that that's what people thought when it was coming out, and we're not really understanding because it wouldn't be fresh if it was hot.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little bit more fresh. It's no different than if you go to, 7-Eleven and they have like the packaged sandwiches. That's
Sure.
kind of what it is. So I'm not
I
really
can see
worried
that.
about freshness. I'd probably just Uber Eats something.
But from a marketing standpoint, they should definitely open that on Sundays. I mean, because it's on a college campus.
That I understand,
Yeah.
but you know the way Chick-fil-A is. They
Oh
don't
my
play
gosh.
with their Sunday. And their marketing thing works. So I'm not touching Chick-fil-A because whatever they're doing is working.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you do you.
Yet again,
do you.
Let us know what you think. Hashtag
Yeah.
Fox 5 Live Zone. We'll end with this, and that is, it's the never-ending debate. When is the acceptable time to start putting up your Christmas decorations? I don't know why I started singing that.
Because you're ready for the holiday
traditional
spirit.
rule is to wait until after Thanksgiving, but many people like to do it a bit earlier. Who was I talking to here the other day? Was it Marissa? Someone put up their Christmas decorations already, and I can't believe it, Annie, man.
I was talking to Makia a couple of days ago, and we had this exact kind of conversation where she, in the past, had not put it up until late. And she was like, you know what, this year, I'm going to start putting it up a little bit earlier because she wants to be in the holiday spirit. Normally, I'm a person who says after Thanksgiving. The day after Thanksgiving, by all means, go and put up your Christmas decor. This year, I'm feeling a little in the holiday spirit. I don't know what's in the water, but I'm totally feeling the vibes this year. Like I was at the gym or something, like Jingle Bell Rock. I was like, I was like, it's middle of November.
Did the dumbbell a little bit stronger, huh?
Like, I don't want
Oh, that's so
and
funny.
I am so in the mood because of that. I don't know why. I just thought it was fun. So I would totally put up my stuff
That's
today.
awesome. Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. It's the feeling. It's what's supposed to make you feel good. And if
Yeah.
that's what it does for you, then I say go for it. For me,
Yeah.
it's after
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. As soon as I take that last bite, then it's time to go ahead and hit play.
After
Jingle
you
bells
take a
all
little
the way.
evening walk with all the
Yeah.
caloric intake you just had.
Oh, gosh. That was fun. I miss you hanging out. You got to come back
I know.
more
I miss
often.
you too,
All
Guy.
right, cool. Annie Mae joining us for our Monday Talkers right here on the Live Zone. Producer Joey with the assist. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. It's time for Lights, Camera, Fashion. In this case, Danville Fashion Week is set to get underway. It's a network of fashion professionals who are inspired to cultivate and emerge a profound, influential platform for local and national designers or retailers in the Dan River region. Joining us to discuss all this and so much more is Miss Kelly Hood. She is the creator of Danville Fashion Week, and she joins us right here on the Live Zone. Hey, Kelly, good to see you.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing just fine and truly excited about all things Danville Fashion Week. For folks that are, let's say, crawling from under a rock, and shame on you, but they're hearing about it for the first time, oh, do tell. What's to be expected?
Oh, wow, it's a lot. We are at season 10. We are 10 seasons in. We are at Caesars, Virginia, a new casino that has opened at our city. We are excited. We have 14 designers to showcase that are from Danville, Virginia, and beyond, with over 80 models, nationally known and local. I'm excited. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, not only is it going to be a great time, but as you just stated, it gives you the opportunity to let others shine. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about, let's say, the models, the designers. And they're coming to an area that loves all things fashion.
Yes, and that is the biggest piece that we try to really zone in. Danville, Virginia is a textile city. We are known for our textile history, and now we have a point to bring our history and meet our present, but more in an innovative way. I'm excited for the city to continue to see what we're doing and elevate our fashion and bring more awareness to our city.
Yeah. For folks that say, you know what, I'm still trying to figure this whole fashion thing out, I'm hoping you can explain. And what do I mean by that? It's more than just what you put on. It's a feeling, is it not?
Absolutely. I always say that fashion speaks for you before you even say a word. And a lot of people in today's economy, this is how they're making their living. This is how they are expressing themselves. And fashion is not just clothing. It's a self-expression. It's a form of creative expression. And a lot of people do that within the clothes that they wear and then from the designs that these fashion designs sew.
So let's set the scene, if you will. It's Danville Fashion Week, obviously. Oh, it starts this week. And so do tell what's to be expected throughout the week.
Oh, absolutely. On Wednesday, we will be releasing a video interview that we did with one of our sponsors, Cirque. Cirque is a textile recyclable company that is a sponsor of ours. And it was very important for us to sit down with Cirque and really connect sustainability with fashion. And they are doing a great job with that within their company. So you will be able to view that video on Wednesday. On Thursday, local designers and the House of Fashion's board. We are a nonprofit organization, and along with my executive producer, Thomas, we all will be actually on site at Cirque to see how they remake fabric. The designers will get a chance to get more information on how they can obtain fabrics that are more suited for our earth, for our planet. Thursday night, we'll have a ladies' night mixer. Friday, we are going to celebrate America's Recycle Day with a clothing drop-off at Focus Point Mental Health on Riverside Drive. Bring anything that you are not able to use anymore that you would like to recycle and donate, because we are opening 2 clothing boutiques that give back to the community as well. And all of those are driven by community donations. So that Saturday, then we'll have Danville Fashion Week with all of our emerging top talent at Caesars, Virginia. And Sunday, we always close it out. We cannot leave our youth out. And we have a youth nonprofit, Cazell & Company, who will be showcasing a youth fashion show with the theme A Different World.
Yeah. You know what I love about this most, Kelly, is that you all are a nonprofit and that you're giving back in a major way. I mean, there are so many ways, different avenues you could have taken when creating Danville Fashion Week. But you said, you know what, in this case, I want to take the avenue to which we give back. Why did you decide to do that?
Absolutely. I'm born and raised in Danville, and it would not be me if I did not have anything to do with the arts. I'm a dancer at heart. I went to Norfolk State University, behold the green and gold. And when I was there, my love for art, my love for creative expression grew even more. And when I returned home to Danville, I did not want to lose that. And it was more of a personal feeling for me, more than me thinking, okay, this can impact so many other people. And here we are 10 seasons later, and with me, I would say receiving so much for myself, it was important for me to give back through fashion. And I wanted to show that there's so many different ways you can give back. We have educational nonprofits, we have religious things, we have youth-based, but fashion is an art within itself, and we cannot let that die. So it was important for me to give back to the community. It's important for me within our city to keep art alive and to keep it being funded.
Yeah, and you do it all so well. Folks that want to find out more information about Danville Fashion Week, how would one go about to get it?
Oh, please visit our nonprofit website, the House of Fashion Incorporated. Your house is spelled H-A-U-S. And please stay tuned because, we're 10 seasons in and it's time to elevate. It's time for us to grow bigger. So we are making a step forward into that, which you will find out at Danville Fashion Week.
Absolutely love it. And we absolutely love what you are doing. Yet again, we have been speaking with Kelly Hood. She is the creator of Danville Fashion Week, joining us right here on the Live Zone. Make it a great day, Kelly. I truly enjoyed this.
All right. See you soon.
No doubt. All right, folks. We'll take a quick break. Hey, on the flip side of that break, we're talking Commanders. Yeah, well, they took one on the chin yesterday, but well, Tailgate Ted says perhaps they could bounce back. He joins us next right here on the Live Zone. It's time to talk a little football, shall we? And I got to tell you, quite honestly, it hasn't been fun doing just that if you happen to be a Commanders fan. Yesterday, the Commanders fell to the Detroit Lions, 44-22, the final score. Oh my gosh, it hurts to say it. But now it's off to Spain, where the Commanders will now take on the Miami Dolphins. Joining us to discuss what happened yesterday and what's to come, hey, our guy is back, Tailgate Ted, right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Good to see you, my friend. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, Guy. Guess if we can say that after getting doubled up again.
Oh, gosh. All right, so how many have the Commanders lost now, Ted? Is it 5?
I think it's 5 in a row.
Wow.
It's 5 in a row now. We were 3-2, and now we are 3-7.
Yeah, it's a big turnaround from what we saw last year, and quite honestly, if you're making reference to the team we played yesterday, it's a big turnaround as well. I mean, we beat them in order to go on to the, let's say, the final game, the NFC Championship game, I should say. So, what was your takeaway from yesterday, Ted?
It's starting to get embarrassing, right? The stadium honestly felt like it did 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, where there was just a sea of blue. It took me forever to get into the stands because of all the extra security yesterday. And finally, when I get in there, it's the first quarter. And I thought I was back at Ford Field, other than it was outside and cold.
So, I mean, it's hard to rebound after a game. It's hard to rebound after losing 2. I mean, but we're now at number 5, Tailgate Ted. And I know you, as soon as we finish this interview, you were about to be whisked off to, I believe, Spain. You're hopping on the plane. And so, yet again, what's the motivation? So many folks would argue, fans, that the season is done.
Being realistic, they're not mathematically out of it because they play so many division games towards the end of the season. But right now, this defense can't get a team to punt the ball. So if that's a status quo, I would agree that the season is done. I mean, Jaden's not on IR, so there's still some hope there that he can come back and maybe turn this around. But Jaden plays offense. He doesn't play defense. And this defense is just on a historical track right now. And they moved Joe Witt down from the coach's booth down to the field. And I'd say he saw even worse than he did last time.
Wow. So what do you attribute this to, Tailgate Ted? I mean, yet again, the defense showed up and showed out last year. You fast forward a couple of months. I know it's a brand new season, a couple of new players, but what gives? What's going on?
Well, part of this is last year the offense was putting up points. And they were keeping the defense off the field. The defense was fresh. They're not putting up points this year. They're not allowing the defense to really catch their breath. Another part of it is Father Time's undefeated. There are some older guys on this roster. And, you know, I don't want to call players out, but some of them are just not meeting expectations that they did last year. And the other piece of it is a ton of injuries on this team. Marshawn Lattimore went out last week. I mean, Deron Payne selfishly threw a punch, got himself knocked out of the game. That's not an injury, but it's still another player missing. Not to mention all the players, Dorrance Armstrong, Dietrich Wise, all the guys that we lost earlier on the season. And I'd say it's poor roster construction, really. Adam Peters, and rightfully so, went all in because we were 4 quarters away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're nowhere near that. And this roster that they said they were recalibrating is now looking more like a rebuild.
All right, so you heard me make mention of Spain. It's off to Spain they go, they being the Commanders. They're going to take on the Dolphins, who, by the way, looked pretty good yesterday when they beat the Buffalo Bills out of all teams. Who would have expected that? So a team that so many thought that the Commanders would just run right over, they're kind of hot right now, are they not?
They definitely are. They're fighting for their coach's life. They fired their GM earlier on, I think it was just a couple of weeks ago, and the Commanders were favored in 12 games before the season even started. Now, Monday, we're underdogs in that game going out to Spain, and I really don't know what to expect. All I know is I'm going to have some sangria, and I'm going to enjoy the time out there. Like you said, I'm about to hop on a plane, so we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, all fingers crossed. While you're out there, make sure you touch base with our guy, Chad Ricardo. He'll be there starting Thursday doing live reports, live hits, including right here on the Live Zone. And when he shows up, no matter what's going on with the Commanders, it's definitely going to be a party. You pair him with you, it's a big party.
I can't wait to see Chad out there and all the other Commanders fans out there. I know a lot of the fan base are frustrated about the trip going out there. It's definitely not what we expected. But on the bright side, we're all going to get to go to Spain and hang out and still support the burgundy and gold.
Absolutely love it, and we absolutely love you. Tailgate Ted joining us right here on the Live Zone. I'm going to let you go so you can catch that flight, my friend. Send us pictures.
I appreciate it, Guy.
You got it.
I will. You know I will.
All right, folks. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone, you are taking a live look at the U.S. Capitol, where all eyes remain on the Capitol. This as the government shutdown continues. At issue, well, the Democrats, in essence, bickering with the Republicans. They cannot come to common ground, but perhaps, finally, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That common ground, well, it may have been found, as we heard from Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, earlier today.
It appears to us this morning that our long national nightmare is finally coming to an end, and we're grateful for that. At least some Democrats now finally appear ready to do what Republicans and President Trump and millions of hardworking American people have been asking them to do for weeks. But as we said from the beginning, the people's government cannot be held hostage to further anyone's political agenda. That was never right. And shutting down the government never produces anything. It never has, if you study history. And so here we are. I want to remind everybody this morning of another critical point that you've heard me here repeat over and over the last several weeks. It's something that I and Leader John Thune and President Trump and every Republican leader have all said repeatedly from the beginning. We have always been open to finding solutions to reduce the oppressive costs of health care under the Unaffordable Care Act. We just made clear that we would not and should not ever do that. That is, negotiate as hostages. And I've also reminded you here every morning at this press conference throughout the shutdown, Republicans have not just been talking about reducing costs and fraud and abuse in so many areas and in healthcare. We've been actually passing new laws to accomplish that urgent mission for the people, and we will continue to do so. So here's where we are by way of schedule, just so you know, you're following. And if you're not at home, if you're waking up to this good news this morning.
Yet again, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson discussing all things surrounding the government shutdown, which appears, just maybe, will finally come to an end. Meanwhile, earlier today, the Supreme Court declined an opportunity to overturn its landmark precedent, recognizing a constitutional right to same-sex marriage, tossing aside an appeal that had upset LGBTQ advocates who feared the conservative court might be ready to revisit the decade-old decision. Instead, the court denied an appeal from Kim Davis, the former Kentucky county clerk, who now faces hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages and legal fees for refusing to issue marriage licenses after a court decision to allow same-sex couples to marry. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Miss Lisa Bonner. She is a biz and legal affairs attorney joining us on the Live Zone. Lisa, good to see you and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to see you.
So I'm curious, what does the Supreme Court's decision to decline to revisit the same-sex marriage precedent really tell us about the current judicial climate regarding LGBTQ plus rights?
Well, that's a very interesting question because they issued this ruling without comment, meaning we really don't have any insight into what their rationale was for declaring not to hear the case. So we don't know what they are thinking, what their insights were, but we do know that Justice Clarence Thomas has been one who has really been pushing for this to be overturned. Amy Coney Barrett, who was not on the court at the time, has kind of hinted a bit that she did not really agree with the case. And but again, she wasn't on the original docket. So we are really not sure what this means, but I do know this is pretty much the end of the road for Kim Davis in terms of her appeal. She's really run out of legal options at this point.
Someone, i.e. me, that I have no idea with regard to all things legal affairs, but does this typically happen? You made mention of the Supreme Court not, in essence, really giving a statement as to why they made that decision. Is that common?
It's very common. A lot of times they just refuse to hear it and they do not have to give a reason why. You have to remember a lot of people petition the Supreme Court to hear their case. And if it's something that they're firmly decided on, or if they just do not want to address the issue, they do not have to give a reason why. And this is one of the instances. And I know this is a big sigh of relief for a lot of same-sex marriage couples because the fact that this was brought in and we did have some whisperings outside of official whisperings outside of the court really was alarming to a lot of same-sex marriage advocates because it did seem by putting this in saying that they were going to take up the case and hear it or put it in front of the judges for a decision alarmed a lot of people. So I think we can now breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief knowing that this is not going to be revisited and Kim Davis's appeal has really come to the end of the road, which means she does have to pay David Aaron and David Moore the judgment and the attorney's fees, the $360,000 that they were seeking.
Wow.
So.
Thank you so much for putting that in layman's terms. There are so many folks that were still trying to wrap their heads around that. I'm also curious, how does this decision, if you will, really affect the patchwork of marriage laws in different states, or does it not?
No, it really doesn't. The biggest issue was, states before were, some states allowed it, some states did not. And so what the 2015 case did was provide for equal protection across the country, meaning if it were recognized on a state level but not on a federal level, you would have conflicting issues in terms of how taxes are filed, how there are just a lot of other issues that could have been undone by this. So the fact that this is now still the lay of the land, the ruling of the land across the nation means that we don't have to worry about conflicting state and federal laws. This has been upheld, and we will continue to recognize same-sex marriage across all 50 states and on a federal level. So I think this is a ruling in terms of the cohesiveness across the states and the federal ruling.
Sure. We'll end with this, and that is, can you compare the Supreme Court's treatment of same-sex marriage cases with its handling of other civil rights cases at all?
Well, obviously, there are different issues that are at stake, and we have seen, for instance, with not in terms of the abortion, they overruled Roe v. Wade. That is not a civil rights case, but that was a case that was firmly established as precedent.
Sure.
And they did overturn that. And then we are looking at them potentially looking to unravel certain voter protection rights that were passed under the 1964 Act. So we don't really know what the Supreme Court is doing. I think that this was a shock to a lot of us and a sigh of relief that this is not a 100% slam dunk for a lot of the conservative issues that are being brought before the court. But we have really no insight into what they are ruling until they issue a ruling, or until we hear whispers of what the rulings are. But in terms of trying to gain, read the tea leaves or gain any kind of insight, we can only look at what they have done thus far, and it does not seem to fare well in terms of looking forward for them to uphold a lot of the Voting Rights Acts and the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Well said. Yet again, we have been speaking with Lisa Bonner, Biz in Legal Affairs attorney. Thank you so much for making it understandable for so many folks that, yet again, we're having a hard time wrapping their heads around this. We truly appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's take you back to the Senate floor, where the Senate has now convened after a test vote to end the shutdown. Let's take a live look in.
Is going to increase by 200% for some people, 300% for some people, 400% for people that are living in rural areas in my state. That's thousands and thousands of dollars to a typical family that just doesn't have that kind of money, Mr. President. And I just want to remind everybody in this chamber that when this debate is done, we still have a very important project that we need to be engaged with the American people. And that is to be able to provide a healthcare system like other wealthy and industrialized countries have provided, where people can count on their healthcare, where they know it's not going to cost them an arm and a leg, where they know in the course of their lifetime there are other things they can worry about, like the cost of their rent and the cost of food. But one thing we're going to do is take care of this problem, just as countries all over the world have taken care of it for their citizens. I wish I could say that the politics around healthcare have gotten better over the years that I've been here. They really haven't, Mr. President. But I think that the debate that we have had in this moment is going to serve to clarify who's fighting to try to make this system better for the American people and who's not. I guarantee you this, as long as we have President Trump and the White House and a majority of the Republicans in this chamber, we will never have political leadership that's fighting for universal health care, that's fighting for a public option that can be available to every single family in America. By the way, that's my proposal. It relies on everybody in America to make the best choice for their family. It's not something that would be imposed from here. It'd be the chance for every family to say, you know what, I'll stay with the private insurance I have, or actually I'd rather be on a system that's run by Medicare, where I know I'm going to have access to mental health care and health care for my family in a predictable way. And I'll just close, I can see my colleague from Massachusetts. I'll close by saying my heart especially aches for young people across this country. The people the age of my own daughters. I had a young woman ask me the other day, a recent graduate of Western State in Gunnison, Colorado. She said, I'm coming off my parents' insurance when I'm 20, after I'm 26. You'll remember we put that in the health care bill. Before that, there was no opportunity for people to stay on their parents' insurance. We did it. We said you get to stay until you're 26. But then she said to me, Senator, what am I supposed to do? Take 2 or 3 jobs to pay for my health insurance when I have to come off my parents' insurance? And I said, that is exactly the right question. That is a question that 26 and 27 and 28-year-olds are not having to ask in any other industrialized country in the world, only in the United States of America. Are we running a system where young people in their 20s have to decide between health insurance and their rent, or health insurance and food, or health insurance and the ability to put some money away to save for a house? And we should change that. I believe strongly that if we ever get to the point where we're expanding Medicare in this country, we should do it for the younger kids that are in their 20s first, because they've done absolutely nothing to design the system that they're inheriting. Mr. President, with that, I yield the floor.
All right, yet again, that was Senator Michael Bennet out of Colorado discussing all things surrounding the government shutdown. It appears as though perhaps we are very close to bringing that shutdown to an end. We'll continue to monitor all things surrounding just that. Well, according to the Veterans Association, there are nearly 17.6 million veterans currently living in the U.S. Now, these veterans often face a host of challenges when re-entering civilian life. Despite Uncle Sam's promises to provide health care as well as housing, employment, and educational assistance upon their return from service, some cannot secure health care, jobs, or shelter. Which leads us to this: the best and worst places for veterans to live in 2025. The study conducted by none other than Wallet Hub. And when it comes to that, our guy joins us, Chip Lupo, back here on the Live Zone. Good to see you, Chip. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you too, Guy.
All right, so let's break all of this down. You heard me make mention of it. We're talking about the best and worst places for veterans. I hate the mere fact that there happens to be a worse place to live. You would think that we would want to take care of the guys and gals that have done an amazing job protecting us, but I guess it is what it is. And so do tell.
It's interesting because when I was looking at survey results, when you think of military towns, you tend not to, or at least I don't, because I grew up in military towns. I grew up on the outskirts of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and I'm currently in the shadows of Fort Jackson. So you kind of think of those as military-type towns, but it's going a little bit beyond that, because we're looking at places where veterans can go post-military career. And a lot of these areas are urban areas that are in military-heavy states that do provide ample resources and a lot of opportunities. Now, some of the ones at the bottom of the list have their own internal problems, whether it's high crime rates or poor economics, high poverty rates, which make it less conducive for veterans to want to live.
All right, so let's talk about the top three very quickly. Number 3 being Madison, Wisconsin. Number 2, Tampa, Florida. And taking the cake, Austin, Texas. It's a great city, by the way. I love Austin.
Austin, Texas is a dynamic city. It's home of the University of Texas, a major public university. The economy is good in Austin, Texas, and it's somewhat centrally located. Now, Texas is a very military-reliant state. There are a number of major military installations all across the state of Texas. So it kind of gives veterans a place to go post-military career if you want a place to work where you can get a good job, a good median annual income. And, of course, as always, there's plenty to do in Austin.
All right. And so with regard to the closest, I would say, city to D.C. and or D.C., I'm not sure if it placed on the list. What do we have?
Well, D.C. was 50th out of 100. Right smack in the middle. I was surprised. I thought it would have ranked a little bit higher. And the first thing I thought, I was like, well, maybe it's a little cost prohibitive, which the economy is relatively in decent shape for veterans, but it ranked very poorly in the healthcare aspect of it, particularly in terms of the VA facilities per veteran population and the quality of those facilities. Now, to be fair, D.C. being where it is, I mean, right across the border in Maryland, I think you're in Bethesda, there's some world-class facilities in and around D.C., so you're having to actually leave the district to get that quality health care for veterans.
Yeah. Well, yet again, we truly thank them for their service. And it's just sad that there happens to be a worse place. But, you know, as I said earlier, I guess it is what it is. And we'll just have to try to continue to make it better for the guys and girls that served in the military. Let's move on to this, Chip. In this case, we're talking about the new study on overweight and obese states in America. 4 in 10 U.S. adults aged 20 and older are obese, with 1 in 10 being severely obese. I'm curious, what did we find with this study?
Now, it's interesting. Now, this is a study where it does not pay to be at the top of the list. If you're at the top of the list for most obesities, you have a lot of issues to work out in terms of health care and just your day-to-day habits. Let's just run down and see if you see a pattern here, Guy. Let's just run through the top 7 real quick. West Virginia, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. You're talking low-income states, predominantly in the Deep South. Economies are not the greatest. Poverty rates are high. And, of course, there's an abundance of fried foods here. I can say that living here in South Carolina. And people tend not to take care of themselves as much.
Yeah. Chip, at one point, the city of Houston happened to be the most overweight city in America. I lived there when that happened to actually take place. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of good eating down there. So I get it. I mean, everywhere you turn, you're tempted to eat something, whether it's a fried Oreo or a turkey leg or barbecue. So, yeah.
And you can't eat barbecue without the fixins, and that's where people get into trouble. It's what you pile on to the main course that gets a lot of trouble.
So let's talk about Virginia and Maryland. Where did they place rank on this list?
Maryland, Virginia ranked. They ranked okay. Maryland was 22nd, so slightly above average. They had good numbers in what we call health consequences. Virginia, a little bit below average, 33rd. There are some issues there with obesity and overweight prevalence among its state residents. Health consequences, a little below average, and in food and fitness. Now, Guy, the good news, though, is that Washington, D.C. did make this study, and they were 44th overall. So that's good, 44th out of 50, because you want to be 50th or 51st, which, of course, are your states like Utah and Colorado, where fitness, you're high in the Rocky Mountains, so fitness is a priority there. So, yeah, for a good number for Washington, D.C., ranked best overall in food and fitness.
Okay. Well, I got to tell you, after all the food that I ate this weekend, I probably will bring that, whatever that stat is, down, or up,
well, you're
in a bad way.
You're good for this year, so we'll have to see how next year's numbers
We'll have to leave it there. Good stuff. Chip Lupo with All Things Wallet Hub joining us right here on the Live Zone. I truly appreciate your time, Chip.
Always a pleasure, Guy. We'll talk soon.
All right, guys. We'll take a quick break. Hey, on the flip side of that break, producer Chris joins us. He's coming up next right here on the Live Zone.
Palm Beach is no longer safe. We can't trust the powers that be to protect us. We have to be the powers that be.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
Well, I do know that you know that I know what you know. You know?
Looks good. What is that?
So that is part of the trailer for season 2 of Palm Royale. It is a critically acclaimed kind of comedy drama.
Wow.
The first season came out a couple years ago. And you know, it's a little cold outside.
Yeah.
You can hear right now in my voice, I have a little bit of a cold. So I thought a little warm thoughts. We would think Palm Beach and Palm Royale season 2. The new season drops later this week. But before it came out, I got a chance to talk to 2 sketch comedy legends. We're talking Carol Burnett and Kristen Wiig, all about this new season and the major reunion in it that you'll have to stay tuned for. Take a look.
The critically acclaimed comedy Palm Royale returns this week. If you've never seen it, it tells the story of Maxine, a woman trying to find her footing in the cutthroat world of Palm Beach high society.
Apologize.
Oh,
about
no
that.
worries.
That's on me.
Season
We
one
were
ended with
trying
Max.
to bring it in. We can kill the sound of that. But yeah, obviously we were trying to having a little bit of technical difficulties with regard to the sound portion of it all.
No worries whatsoever. So what's interesting about this is Carol Burnett, back in the day, had a famous show, The Carol Burnett Show. Vicki Lawrence, who was on The Carol Burnett Show, is one of the guest stars in season 2 of this show. So it's a reunion, literal decades in the making. And I was laughing because when I was a kid, Mama's Family was one of those shows, whether I liked it or not, ended up on our TV sometimes. And so I got a chance to ask her just about reuniting with Vicki Lawrence after all of these years. And she told a really interesting story about how she intended to call the showrunner and ask if there was a role available for Vicki.
Really?
And before she even could, the showrunner called and was like, "I'm thinking about putting Vicki in this show. Do you think it would be good?"
Wow. All right. Well, I think producer Joey's waving at us. So we have it? All right, let's take a look.
Let's give it a shot.
Kind of start off with this theme of how much of yourself you're willing to sacrifice to get what someone else has. And my question was kind of for both of you. Has there ever been a time in your career that you've looked at someone else's life and said, I want that? And was that motivating, or was it kind of depressing because comparison can be the thief of joy?
All right. So really cool, though. I mean, the mere fact that you had the opportunity to speak with the legend Carol Burnett.
I know. I mean, she is 92 years old. And
Are you
she
serious?
Is still hilarious. Still obviously working hard. Both of them got nominated for Emmys for the first season. So the second season, first episode drops on Wednesday. So we'll see what kind of has happened in the Palm Beach area since then. I will post the full thing on YouTube so you can check it out there for sure.
I got a chance to check it out this morning. They aired it on Good Day DC. And it happened to be, I was in the green room getting ready. I looked up, I'm like, first of all, is that Chris with Carol Burnett?
Yeah, I know, right?
It doesn't
I
happen every
texted
day.
my parents immediately afterwards to tell them about that one. That was big time.
Good stuff. All right, I truly appreciate you.
Thank
Producer
you, sir.
Chris joining us.
Also, if I can, real quick, if your mom is watching, I have a long overdue thank you for the gift that she sent to me and my wife for our upcoming child. I'm I'll post a picture. Thank you so much if you're watching.
That's
and
really cool of
a
you,
thank
man.
you card is in the mail, I promise.
Oh, really cool of you. Yeah, she's such a big. My mom loves you. She's
Well,
outside of your wife
right
and your
back
parents.
at you, and we feel the
she's your
love.
biggest
So
fan.
thank you so much.
All right, producer Chris joining us right here on the Live Zone. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Obviously, it's the big story of the day, all things surrounding the government shutdown. Senators still weighing in on the Senate floor. In this case, this happens to be Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey. Let's take a live look in.
In the middle class are their health care. It's their protections. So from my perspective, this is a mistake. It's a historic mistake. And it is a mistake that will come back to haunt the Republican Party at the ballot box next year. With that, Mr. President, I yield back.
All right, yet again, we are awaiting the next senator to give his or her take on all things surrounding the government shutdown, one of the many things we'll continue to watch. Speaking of watching, let's take it back to the White House. We're keeping a close eye on the White House, where President Trump is meeting with the Syrian president, Ahmed al-Shira. After swapping his combat uniform, he being the president of Syria, well, the former jihadist shared images of himself playing basketball with U.S. troops late last month. He also addressed the UN General Assembly back in September. His goal is to really have all sanctions on Syria lifted immediately. As for President Trump, he has said that he thinks he's a good guy and that he's making a difference in a tough neighborhood. It is obviously no secret that Syria is looking for funding to help rebuild after the war. The U.S. has its own interests and hopes Syria will join the international alliance against the Islamic State. The U.S. also, by the way, plans to establish a U.S. base near Damascus to monitor the situation on the ground, as well as hopes Syria and Israel will normalize their relations. This way, Iran would not be able to use Syrian airspace to deliver weapons to terrorists. Should the two actually hold a press conference, we'll make sure we'll take you to the White House right here on the Live Zone. We'll take a quick break. On the flip side of that break, Brittany Alexandra joins us next for our Monday Talkers right here on the LZ. We'll be right back. All right, just like that, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone, look who's in the house. Brittany joining us for our Monday Talkers.
Good to see
What's
you.
up, girl?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Feeling good, living better.
Okay.
You know how the story
Oh, it's
goes.
all good once your energy, it
Literally.
always like changes the game.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Try to be the positive penny in the crew.
Well, I can tell you somebody.
Enough negative Nancy's.
That's not positive. She is definitely a negative Nancy, but I want to get your take if she's in the right. In this case, I'm making mention of a 34-year-old woman who is now demanding her ex-boyfriend pay compensation for stealing her childbearing years. He owes me big time, according to her. She took to Reddit to say, hey, am I wrong for actually asking for him to really pay me for dating him during the time that which we could have had children, and then he dumped me? I never thought about this. Brittany, what say you about
this? This is funny. So I didn't know she was 34. This makes me feel crazy. I'm not gonna put my age out there, but it's very close to that. And I feel like we have a lot more time, lady, until that he owes us some money. I feel like if she was 44, yeah, you owe me. But 34, girl, you got time. I get it. I know you wanted to bag something out of probably the relationship, but she got time. I think that's kind of petty.
According to her,
that's petty Betty right there.
She says that he promised that he was going to be with her, that he at some point going to get down on one knee and propose, and well, it just didn't work out.
So now she's kind of gloomy of the fact of having to do it all over again or find somebody again. Okay, I got it. Okay, for that reason of gaslighting and love bombing, yeah, cut me the check.
Oh gosh, but so how do you put a price on that? That's the thing.
I mean, it's priceless at the end of the day, right? I mean, when it comes to having a children or the childbearing years, but I don't know. They say what, $1 million for 18 years that it costs to have a child. So I'm just saying,
$1 million.
If she's gonna go hard, you might as well go hard or go home. Okay, just saying.
Well, okay, in that case, I'm forever staying single.
Or you're not messing with the right people, okay?
There you go. Obviously, we are embarking on the holiday season. In this case, we're talking about Thanksgiving. And according to new research, over half of Americans have a Thanksgiving recipe that's been passed down from generation to generation within their family. The survey of 5,000 Americans, evenly split across 50 states, found that 55% have a treasured family recipe that's been shared throughout the year. So what's that recipe in your family?
I'm over here thinking about my grandma's sweet potato pie. Oh my goodness. Shout out to my grandma Bessie. I mean, one of one. That sweet potato pie is nothing to play with. I'm telling you right now. I am working on remembering the recipe. Thankfully, my grandma's still here with us, so I'm looking forward to that this year. But the sweet potato pie, hands down, for sure.
So you're not replacing it with pumpkin, right? It's still sweet potato.
No, sweet potato. Yes. No, we're not doing pumpkin. No, sweet potato pie. Classic with the butter pecan on the side.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. That sounds so good right now.
Good, so
For me,
good.
it's several things in my family.
Yeah.
My mom makes. I guess the two dishes I'm making reference to it's called cheese goodies. It's like some cream cheese filled sweet. Little toasty thing that's with cinnamon on top. And then her oyster stuffing.
Oh,
so
wow,
it's like stuffing with oysters. Oh my gosh, it's the. Now here's the thing.
That's different. I like that.
It's really good, and I can really cook, but I haven't. Mom, I need the recipe.
Exactly right. Like when you come from a family of cooks, they still want to be in the kitchen, so it's hard to kind of let us take over. I agree with that for sure. That's how I feel about them collard greens and that mac and cheese. Oh, here we go. I mean, the whole display is all about family heirlooms and recipes because everybody got their special touch on how they make things, right?
Yeah.
But oyster stuffing, shout out to Mama Lambert. That's a first.
Yeah. She makes that Mama Hollister remarried.
Oh, got you. Okay, it's okay. All good. I'll get in the hood.
Producer Joey has our last Monday talker. What's going on, my man?
Hello, it's producer Joey. We're here. We're live in the corner.
Joey!
And as of now, I want cheese goodies. The way they were just described to me, it's got to be the tastiest thing ever.
It does
but
sound good.
In the meantime, Gen Z. Yep, that's me. We want a meet cute. A new study says that as opposed to dating apps, Tinder, Hinge, JDate, etc. We want to meet people the old-fashioned way. A glance across the room. Rom-coms. Like Shrek, how they meet in Shrek. Stealing a princess from a tower. That's what we want.
Oh, okay.
What do you guys think?
They're hopeless romantics. That's what it's giving.
That's basically,
So just because I'm old or older, it's
don't do
called
that to
meet
yourself.
cute.
Meet cute. You meet and it's cute. It's a meet cute.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I'm a millennial and I got that one, guy. You got to catch up, okay?
I don't know if that was our term or.
I think that's cute. I like that for sure. I want to meet cute. Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't? Yeah.
That's true. That's very true. They just have a coin to it, clearly. This is interesting though. Like the phrases that Gen Z is using nowadays, meet cute or IYKW, like all these little acronyms. Like, why can't we just say I want to meet somebody in a hopelessly romantic
Not on the
way?
app.
You know what I mean?
IYKW mean?
If you IYKY, if you know, you know.
Oh,
if you know,
okay.
If you know, you know. I think there's another one. If IYKY. Yeah, if you know, you know.
Obviously, I don't know in a major way. But now you do and they do.
Yes, literally.
All right, so you're coming up on the take in just a minute.
Yes, the take it to. I mean, there's so much going on. First of all, we got to talk about that Commanders game yesterday.
Oh, gosh, do we really?
Not only the blowout, right, but it is Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all those veterans out there tomorrow. But just, I don't know, the scenes, the vibes that happened yesterday was interesting, especially with President Trump in the building, you know? So.
By the way, speaking of Commanders, Chad Ricardo headed to Spain, Madrid.
Ooh, love that for him.
You'll get a chance to see some of his reports starting on Thursday.
The man of the people.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. He's traveling with them.
Yeah, as he should.
Yes. I'll see you guys on the Take It too.
Brittany joining us right here on the Live Zone with the assist with producer Joey. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Shall we? Tucker Barnes joining us on a Feel Good Monday. Hello, my friend.
Hello, hello.
What's going on?
It's cold out there.
It is freezing. I wore a turtleneck on the way in over this. First time this year. It's a little chilly out there.
Is that for fashion or was that to stay warm?
That was to stay warm. It's the only thing I could find that was still clean.
Sometimes I wear a turtleneck around the house just for fashion.
You strike me as a Dickie guy. Remember those?
Nope.
You don't know what it is?
No, what's a Dickie guy? Because
It's the one where it's cut off, but never mind. That's even worse, cut off part. So let's just get the weather.
All right, we'll do the weather. 46 in Washington. That is very chilly for this time of year. We were about 70 yesterday, so nearly 25 degrees cooler. That was a serious cold front that came through with thunder and lightning last night.
Wow.
Winds out of the north and west at 16. We'll have an occasional gust 25 today. And Guy, look at there. Your feels like your wind chill temperature for the first time this year. 39 degrees out. Okay, so take the cold seriously this afternoon. All right, want to have fun with numbers? Mm-hmm. All right, you don't have a choice because I'm running the maps. 46 in Washington. Those are actual air temperatures. 28 in Chicago, where it snowed yesterday during the Bears game. 28 in St. Louis. Nashville was 31 earlier, now 33 degrees. Lincoln, Nebraska, 23. I mean, that is some real cold air. And we are getting a chunk of that. We're not getting the worst of it, which is out to the west. But enough of it that will remain unseasonably cold around here this afternoon for this time of year. We should be in the low 60s. We will maybe get to 50 later this afternoon.
Oh, that's the high.
Okay. Good news is brighter skies will be partly sunny going forward, and we should be precip free. If you're going west, as in Western Maryland, West Virginia, you will notice that is actually snow showers out there.
Oh, gosh.
And I was looking at pictures not too long ago in Western Maryland of snow-covered streets.
Wow, okay. I guess it's that time of the year.
No, they do have some elevation out there, so that's a different game. And we're not going to get any of that locally, but that gives you an idea how cold it is. Tomorrow morning, you will need your turtleneck and your puffy jacket and, dare I say, in Guy's case, first mittens of the season?
Oh, brother.
You a mitten wearer?
I like gloves. So.
Okay. Yeah. 48 tomorrow. Did you go to the Commanders yesterday?
No, I was actually in Columbus. It was snowing there.
Oh, so you saw snow yesterday?
Yeah, I saw snow, yeah.
Yeah, all right, so you got in on it. 48 for Veterans Day tomorrow, and then much better, much warmer, milder. How about that? Maybe it's not warm, but it'll feel a lot better Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Less wind as well. Nice end of the week.
Ooh, I absolutely love it. Tucker Barnes, all things weather right here on the Live Zone. Guys, if you haven't already done so yet, make sure you download the Fox Local app. You see it right there on your TV screen, and you, my friends, are good to go. To go. Speaking of good to go, we thank you so much for joining us. We're about to go, but we encourage you to stay. Why? Because the take's coming up next, as you heard Brittany make mention of earlier. Hey, real quick, before we do go, if you haven't already done so, make sure you download the Fox Local app. This thing is key. I was actually traveling over the weekend and wanted to find out what was going on right here back at home. It's that easy. You just click on the Fox Local app and voila, you're going to find out exactly what's taking place right here in our neck of the woods. But wait, there's more. You see the YouTube right there as well, youtube.com/@Fox5DC. On behalf of my producer, Joey, I'm Guy Lambert. Thank you so much for watching. We're back tomorrow at 12 noon. The Take coming up next, right here on Fox 5.